Welcome to another episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to continue our journey through the fifth season of Temptation Island with episode 7. Before we jump in any further, I want to shout out my good friends over at the Temptation Island Reddit board. They've been super supportive of the Love and Reality podcast as well as Temptation Island. Look, if you're looking for one place to check out, to enjoy conversations about this series, there's no better place to do it than going over to that Reddit, typing in Temptation Island USA. I'll be putting a link to the website in my podcast notes as well as show notes. Folks, I have a blast chatting about this show each and every week. I love the people's thoughts. I love what they say. I love how they break down the episodes and maybe even highlight certain things that you might miss yourself. Now, without further ado, let's dive right into episode 7, which was insane. This has been one of the most wild seasons back and forth that we've seen, obviously, with some extra twists and turns. Brand new twists introduced in this episode as well. I'm just going to briefly run down some things that we see early in the episode between Alexis and Christopher, who are connecting on a more deeper level. Now that he has kind of opened the floodgates there, Hall and Michaela are growing closer together as well. She's nervous about him having to talk to Caitlin, which she said, he has this guilt weighing on him, and he knows that somebody's going to get hurt. Great and Tammy are flirting while Nafisa is looking on, and she is pissed. She snaps to the camera how he just wants attention, and Tammy's thirsty. Mark breaks the big news that letting the girls know. Host Mark Wahlberg walks in to let everybody know that they can send their significant other a 30-second clip to them, and the guys will have the same opportunity to do the same for them as well. Now, for the first time ever in Temptation Island history, the singles that are dating the other significant others will have an opportunity to send videos to the other people as well. That is going to be crazy. Nafisa confronts Great about what he's been doing with Tammy. She said for him to have fun, but don't be disrespectful. And he kind of seems clueless on it. Great said he isn't ready to put all of his eggs in one basket, and the two begin to argue. She told him that they will, when they leave the house, they will never have to talk again. And Great is not happy. And then, of course, he walks away. Tahijik and Paris are making out and looking for more privacy. Sebastian and Caitlin are chatting. She's trying to basically figure her shit out. Sebastian is ready to put his claws in on Caitlin. He tells her that, and she blushes. It's kind of crazy to me because Caitlin doesn't ever seem like a person that I feel like she would have ever really crossed the line on the show. But things start to unfold crazy over the next few minutes here. Over the guys' villa, they are having a future night, and that means parties, dressing up, and getting drunk. Roberto is feeling Desiree, and they are working this thing out, but he isn't exactly ready to let Vanessa go yet. He isn't sure which one to follow. It's definitely interesting to watch Roberto and Vanessa because on the surface, it looks like these two are going to 100% break up. But then when you start digging deep into the bonfire that we saw, where Mark kind of calls out the idea that these two kind of maybe belong together. But then when the way they talk about each other, it's kind of wild to see them go back and forth. And we even see in a few moments later, country night at the girls' villa, Vanessa said the last bonfire makes her want to explore Bryce more. So it's definitely interesting to see these two kind of explore more, but it's almost like they're kind of bound to end up back together, I think, at some point. Maricel and Christian are hotter than ever. If these two were on Too Hot to Handle, they would have gotten all the money taken away from their entire roster, the entire team, because these two are consistently all over each other every single episode, leading to the red light going off. Tammy is trying to get Great to kiss him, but he wants to talk to Abby and give her a chance. My guy Great is just trying to He's just trying to get a turn at anybody that's willing to give him an opportunity right now. It's kind of funny to watch unfold. But Abby turned his ass down. And then, of course, Nafisa is pushing Great's boundaries and said if he breaks, she is done. And he said he made a mistake entertaining the other woman, and maybe he made a mistake with her. After pushing him, um, these two kiss and make up. She forgave him. Now these two get in the shower together, making the red light go off. It's definitely interesting to watch these two because there's such a toxic relationship, and it's even like like maybe that's what Great attracts is like toxic relationships because both him and Nafisa are very toxic. If he's trying to put all of his eggs in one basket now after not wanting to put all of his eggs in one basket, I really don't believe that he's overly interested in Nafisa. He just kind of likes that attention. But and he's also looking to rebound off of everything that Paris has kind of done to make him feel the way he's feeling right now. Vanessa is freaking out because the light goes off, but Caitlin licks whipped cream off of Sebastian's body. Maricela licks whipped cream off. Why did I write it like that? Off of Paris, and then the two. Hang on one second here. Let me get my notes going here again. Sorry. And then Caitlin licks whipped cream off of Sebastian's body. Maricel licks whipped cream off of Paris, and they make out. The light goes off at the guy's house, leading to Christian and Maricela getting freaky in the bed yet again. Nafisa talks to Great about their future, and he said he has to handle it, and she has to trust him. Christopher and Alexis are chatting it up and how vulnerable, and said she still is guarded and is scared. He tells her that he's been in the dating game and nothing in the streets for him. But he feels how she feels, making Alexis kind of comfortable. Maricela and Christian, and says she is enjoying exploring things without having sex. Without having sex? Question mark. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and anybody listening to this podcast can comment below. But I've seen some pretty steamy sequences. Now, obviously, we're not in the bedroom with them, so we don't see them do the quote unquote deed there. But it looks like they've done pretty much everything, if you ask me. Now, Michael is chatting with Caitlin. Michael states that Sebastian is here for different reasons, which kind of rubs Caitlin the wrong way. Sebastian said she is the first person he's had feelings for, talking about Caitlin, and is worried because he doesn't want to get hurt. He tells the camera that he is catching feelings. Now, the video messages are bound to happen. Folks, before we dive in, if you could do me a favor and leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. It goes a long way in helping get the platform out to the real world. Can't even talk right now, guys. I am filming from a different location, hence why you're not getting a video if you are watching on YouTube. But I do have some fun, exciting news that I'm doing an interview next week with one of the castmates of Temptation Island. And I'm very, very excited to share that with you guys next week on next week's episode, because I promise you it's going to be a hot one. But that being said, video messages are happening. Roberto's up first. Vanessa said he's been having fun talking about Roberto, and she is sorry for what he has done. She hopes his future decisions reflect the man that she knows he can be. And then Bryce pops up and does send a video saying, if you don't want me to leave here with your girl, you need to step it up. I've never laughed so hard in my life. Roberto's response was he was hoping to see more growth out of Vanessa, and he did not see it. Vanessa's turn to watch Roberto's video. He says he's grown tremendous amount, and for the first time in his life, he sees what he wants from a relationship and knows that they both need to make changes because this relationship is toxic, and he hopes that she can change. And then, of course, Desiree comes on and says that Roberto deserves a woman that is empathetic and emotional and not controlling. Vanessa, as expected, flies off the rails, like completely off the rails, and she is pissed. She's mad because she feels like Desiree is taking claim to quote unquote helping change Roberto when she knows she said she's put the work in. and it's not her, it's because of her. And it's crazy. Like Vanessa, I think like just Vanessa gets mad at everything, honestly. Like if we're being 100% honest, I feel like she just gets mad about completely. All right, moving right along. Christopher's turn. Maricel sends him a message saying that she has learned so much and had a question about their future, and now she has the answers. She says that their relationship doesn't bring her the happiness she wants. She ends it with that she hopes that he finds what he is looking for. Um, Christopher ends it here. Christian didn't send a message, which I thought was kind of nice. He said he is confused because he feels a little guilty for what he has done. Um, Maricella's turn to watch Christopher's video, which he is the only one of the people in relationships that came on the show together in relationships that did not send the video to his significant other. Alexis is the one that speaks that she is happy that Christopher was brought to this island and he is a great man. Alexis is pissed that he couldn't even take the time to film a video for her. Moving on to our dramatic couple of Crate and Paris. Paris said he brought her in this journey to prove that he can be a good person. She said the way he has embarrassed her, and he hopes that he takes the remaining time to think about what he's done. He says in return to that he says she is the one that should be embarrassed and she is delusional. He thinks that she should be the one that needs to fix themselves. I think both of these individuals need to fix themselves because I think they're both horrible at this relationship game. I don't know how they're together if this toxic relationship that they have going on is almost as worse, if not worse, than Vanessa and Roberto's. I don't see how these two stay together beyond this place, especially after what happens next. Paris watches Great's video. They both come together. They both came here and take this journey and came out stronger. He said he has trust issues and sees everything she is doing and everything that he is afraid of. He said he has become a better version of himself. Nafisa comes in and she says, we see you and what you're doing and enjoying your time. We are having fun ourselves. And then she follows that up by saying, we have spent several long nights together and hopes she is getting out of this experience what great is. Paris is speechless, which honestly, so was I when I first watched it. And she's hoping he was going to apologize for what he did. Instead, he has some girls saying that they slept together. They had a plan to get married, and she wants to know what happened. I don't know. Maybe it was the fact that you said you were going to suck some dude's dick on TV. I think that might have had a major qualm with what was going on, and maybe why you're not getting married anymore. Now, our final couple, Caitlin and Hall. Hall's message says she is strong, caring, beautiful inside and out, and they've come to the island missing something. He said that he hoped that he found true happiness with himself. Michaela follows with a video. She talks of having the most amazing time with Hall and didn't expect to fall for someone so much that they share all the same values, and she appreciates bringing Hall to the island because she would have never found true love or her soulmate. Caitlin's response was definitely weird. I didn't see it happening, but she basically kind of threw away what Hall was just saying by just saying he was saying whatever, and she felt like Michaela was over the top. Hall watches Caitlin's video. Caitlin says that she loves him so much, and he's the only person that she's ever opened up to. Hearing him question and doubt her as a partner, and it hurts, and not sure she will ever be able to forgive it again. She hopes that they can take what they have now and hopefully grow, and that she misses and loves him. I'm not surprised by this video because Caitlin's really been very reserved, even in the men's room. You know what I mean? She's only kind of opened up over the last episode or two, but it hasn't really opened up that much, right? You know what I mean? We did see her lick some whipped cream off early in this episode, but like that was the most extravagant thing that she's done when she's watching. And Hall hasn't really, I don't think so, crossed very many lines, but he has been in a steady relationship with a different girl this entire time. So after Hall watches it, he said that everything she said definitely hit him in the right spot. And he asked the producers to please talk to Caitlin. Now, again, I've seen the show, we've watched it, et cetera, et cetera. But the one thing I don't recall is if this ever really happening. Um, he stops and asks to beg to see Caitlin. We see him get in a car and head to talk to Caitlin. As we see him enter the villa, Caitlin had no clue that Hall was on the way. She's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" And we see him say to her, he said, um, well, before he goes in there, he says, as much as he cares about her, she deserves to hear the truth from him. The episode ends with him talking to her, saying, "I have to talk to you." Cliffhanger. First off, incredible cliffhanger. Like the editors, the producers, all of those guys know what they're doing, right? They all know what they're doing and how they're doing it, and it's brilliantly edited to give us this massive cliffhanger. That being said, this could go one of two ways. Way one is he realized in that moment that he still loves her, or he realized in this moment that he needs to just be honest with her and tell her the truth about Michaela and his feelings for Michaela. I want to hear from you guys to let you think. Any predictions of what do you think happens between those two on next week's episode? I plan on reading some of my favorite responses over on the over on next week's episode, which I think is going to be a fun episode because, as I said, I have a fun interview planned for you guys in the next week. That being said, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening, watching, whatever way you do it, however you do it on the internet. I appreciate you guys consistently uh, supporting the show, watching, listening, and all that stuff. If you could do subscribe, 5 stars, all that good stuff that you probably hear from all the rest of your podcasters. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Love and Reality Podcast. I'll talk to you guys next week.